Hello, and welcome to today's Petrosys webinar. My name is Peter Richards. I'm a support geoscientist working in the Calgary office. The webinar will last around 15 minutes. It will be recorded and be available to you shortly on the video page of our website. Attendees will be muted, but please enter questions in the panel and I'll answer them at the end of the broadcast. Today's webinar is third in the series of Petrosys Pro connectivity. The next webinar will be held on September 6th on Petrosys mapping with decision space. And on September 26th, we have a webinar, Web Map Services in Petrosys. You can sign up at the following URL just below. Today's presentation will have a short introduction, then we'll get to our demonstration, and then provide a short summary at the end. The new Petrosys release 2018 has some enhancements in the Petrel plugin. We'll have a look at those during the demo, a few of those. Also, in combination with the Pro 2017 release of our map templates, these templates assist users to create corporate standard maps and for regulatory presentation, management presentations, and for new users, it gives them a framework to start building maps, presentation quality maps right away. We'll also talk quickly about some third-party access for mapping, and as well as look at an example of some of the extensive surface modeling tools that are available to you within the Petrosys software when using the Petrel plugin as well. So let's get our demo. Here I've opened up Petrel 2018.1, and up on the icon bar we have a menu for the Petrosys Pro plugin, and the Petrosys Pro icon launches the plugin. For the first time launching the plugin within a Petrel project, there's an auto creation of toolkit that's been added to 2018, and basically it auto creates a project for you within Petrosys, taking the CRS from the Petrel project to assign to the Petrosys project. If you choose yes, then it will auto create the project. No will allow you to select an existing project within Petrosys to start mapping with the Petrel plugin with. And edit will allow you to edit the project creation parameters and provide your own control over it, just as you would for creating a brand new project within Petrosys itself. So we're going to choose the yes option in here. When we choose the yes option, you'll see that there's a project now has been created with the exact same name as our Petrel project. And it's also created in a directory that's called AutoPS under the C drive. This is the default location that Petrosys uses for auto project creates. Now this can be controlled by the admin person to be able to allow users to create projects automatically in certain locations on the network. So this location can be defined, and it can be defined in the configuration parameters in Petrosys under the advanced menu. Down near the bottom, there's auto project creation. In here, there's a number of attributes that you can turn off and on for how that auto project behaves. There's options for auto project generation in Linux. And in our case, for Windows, we have auto project creation routines designed for decision space as well as Petrel, and in Linux as well with decision space. But here is the location of the automatic project creation location, and this can be modified by the user level. In this case, it's set for user settings, but you can also set that project directory to be some location for all users to auto-create projects by going to site settings if you have admin capabilities to modify this. So let's launch our mapping application and have a look at some of these tools that within the plugin, some of the new features. In creating maps here, when you create a brand new project, you get a default template for the aerial extent and the style. I've defined an aerial extent over top this 3D, so I'll select that to allow mapping in the same area as the 3D. And so that's adjusted our annotation around the outside here to reflect the XY coordinates of this area. The map style is currently being displayed is a default template, map template or style template. And we can go to our select options here to choose other Petrosys or system provided templates. But I also have one in here that's a site map template, which I created previously. And site templates can be created by people with admin privileges within the environment. So I will go ahead and create that template, or open the template. And you'll see it's incorporated a number of layers within that map template here for some raster images, 2 location maps, a large and small scale, title block, a color bar, scale bar, legend, and north arrow. Now, all these elements can belong into a template and can be predefined to a corporate standard so that everybody in the company is creating maps in the same methodology or with the same look and feel for management and for management review, as well as submission into regulatory boards. So in this case as well, these templates are not static, so that I can come in here and make a change to this north arrow. I can change it to a different north arrow and have that as part of my map. And you can then save this template as a new template for the user by map template style. Now I can save as to save it for my own use. But when I do save it, I can, if I have admin privileges, I can save it to the site settings too as well, either overwrite this current map template or save it as a new template for everybody using a site setting if I have admin privileges. So more experienced users can create a set of templates and save them and have admin privileges to save them to for others users to be able to access those as well. One of the new things that's been added is this color bar here, and as part of a template, so that as we pull in grids and so forth from Petrel over onto our map, it also pulls over a new feature now is also pulls over the color bar. So you see the exact same color bar displays now. And in this case here, I can double click on double click on the color bar and tell it to display the color bar for that layer. And I've got, you'll see now that the color bars look a little bit different too as well, or they can. We have the regular element of the color bar in here too. And I've also have an optional feature that's you're allowed to turn on now is a histogram view of the sample distributions. Now you can have the two of them together, or just the histogram, or just the regular color bar. But in this case here, now that it belongs to a template, it comes up in a consistent location, making it easier for your for the maps to be more readable and consistent for your outputs. Not only that, too, that as we not only just bring in the color like this, we also bring the color bar with it, so that and label it with Petrel as a source, and then the name that Petrel uses. And this becomes available now in our gradient selection process. So as you bring elements over with color defined for it, it will be added to your gradients bar for certainly for surfaces and grids and those items. Also, we can bring over our well data. And as you see, when I bring the well data over, it's coming over with the colors defined for those well data within Petrel. So there's a lot of color sharing happening now, and you'll see all the color elements of the well data that's been defined in Petrel coming over as color elements here in Petrosys 2 as well. And there's an option within the color selection modes for the well parameters that there's a new feature in there, or a new selection option in there called Petrel color. So you'll see here for color, we have options called Petrel well or Petrel folder, or you can set your fixed values. So since that information is coming from a Petrel project, you'll see these types of options available for any of the Petrel objects that we're bringing color over with them. Same thing with well tops too as well. When I pull them over, I'll get a selection of top interpreters, and they will be labeled with their top colors that are defined in Petrel as well. So as you can see, these are all tops displayed from the Petrel data. When I turned off the surface model a little while ago, it also turned off our color bar display over here too as well, since there's no element that has that color bar display for it. But you'll see that it still exists on the map template, so I can turn that back on and then redisplay my formation in there, or put a new formation and a new surface rather, and then have that color bar displayed on the map too as well. One of the other new features within Petrosys as well, when you're doing a color bar or color surface display, there's an option now just where you have the color gradient selection called equalization. And basically what it tries to do is properly distribute the color throughout the surface display here. So if you have spikes at one end or a low amount of data at one end here, it's going to shift the color scheme so that you get an even distribution of color throughout the display here. Now, I've turned on the equalization, and you may be able to see some changes here so that it pulls in deeper blues and so forth here to try to represent more of the blue or lower end of the spectrum in my display. And there you'll see that it's equalized some of the color, give you more contrast for that surface display, and made some adjustments to the color distribution here in the map. You'll see that more of that, instead of the purples down here, is pulled that blue up a little further, so you get more even distribution of the color on. It makes it more for more contrast in the color for seeing the changes in the surface. Even while using the Petrel plugin, you still have all the capabilities that Petrosys has in its Pro modules, where you have all the display elements here when we're choosing well or 2D, 3D data source to go out to and faults to go out to third-party options for display purposes. So GIS data can be accessing our SDE data to pull it onto your map. So there's a lot of third-party connections that we connect out to for various types of database, and it doesn't all have to exist within your Petrel project. If for some reason you have a different data source, like perhaps you're doing well interpretation in Petra, but your seismic in Petrel, you can still pull that all together by going to a well data source for Petra and pulling in your seismic interpretation from Petrel. As well as those third-party connections, our surface modeling tools are also available within the plugin. So the power of the surface modeling that Petrosys has allows you to do things here, and I'll just show you a task that pulls in seismic horizons and allows you to grid those seismic horizons with the fault sticks information coming out of Petrel. So you can set up some automatic processes to loop over a number of horizons, create that surface model from the interpretation in the 3D, and that's what this thing is doing here. We're creating a surface model, but we're also pulling in the fault sticks available within the Petrel interpretation to generate a set of fault polygons for the mapping process. So you don't have to model your faults before being able to create a set of polygons for use within your mapping tools. You can create them automatically as soon as your fault sticks have been interpreted, your faults have been interpreted within Petrel. So we can access those fault sticks, and it'll create that surface that goes right up to your fault sticks and then provides a set of polygons created from there. And those polygons then are you're allowed to save those polygons as a separate polygon file. Plus, they're also incorporated within the surface that you're generating to as well. And in this situation here, I have a new feature that's been introduced a little while ago, was to actually loop over a set of seismic horizons here. And you can also do that for formation zones and certainly all the regular things in there, and map extents, which were also added recently, which then allows you then to do things like this, where in this case here, we're looping over 4 different interpretations or seismic interpretations from Petrel, and then incorporating those same fault sticks in each one of the gridded processes to grid all 4 formations and generate a set of polygons for each one. And this spatial data translator process here, once that grid creation is being generated, the spatial data translator takes that set of fault polygons and writes them back to Petrel, and then a follow-up operation here, which is an exchange grid operation that transfers the grids that were generated through this looping process as well back into Petrel. This takes a bit of time to run. I've already run the task, so we come down and look at the end of the thing. It added a Petrosys fault polygons directory and a fault and grid directory. So if we look in here, there's 4 sets of polygons, or fault polygons generated, as well as my 4 grids for the 4 different formations generated. So I can turn one of these on just so you can have a look at it. See? Oh, it didn't turn off there. There we go. And there. And so you can see the grids that were generated and transfer back over, and you can clean those up nicely and showing the polygons on here, so you can see them a little bit better. And they come over with associated colors too as well for the fault polygons. So for each one of these, they have the Petrel assigned colors, separate colors and everything like that. So those are the 4 sets of polygons that go with the grids here. Anyway, that kind of concludes our demo for now. Let's just get back to our PowerPoint here. So, in conclusion, the summary, in 2018, we've added a number of items within our plugin to facilitate making maps from Petrel data sources with the automatic project creation, the direct Petrel surface editing, color sharing with new histogram displays, as well as color equalization, and support for Petrel 2018's structural geology framework, so you can pull over horizons and faults. And we've also added some faster displays for 2D and 3D data and sub-surveys of 3D data. And of course, the Petrosys Pro advantages, even though you're working with the plugin for Petrel, you still have all the power of the Petrosys Pro full mapping capabilities with third-party connections and templates and so forth, as well as some full editing and surface modeling toolkits that are available within Petrosys Pro. Thank you for attending our webinar, and you can also go to our client portal here to download some how-to documents, as well as some videos in there too as well, to assist you with some of the workflows that you may have, or some ideas that you want to put together, and some suggestions from our PDF data sources that are available here. Thank you very much.